am Kelly Sadler, the commentary editor at the Washington Times, and this is Politically Unstable. Today, I'm joined by Abby Johnson. Abby Johnson is the CEO and founder of And Then There Were None and ProLove Ministries. And we're going to be talking about a lot about, cultural issues in America right now. Abby, I am so intrigued by your personal stories. You were once employed by Planned Parenthood, and now you're a pro-life advocate. So how did that happen?
Yeah, thank you for having me on. There were quite a few things that happened during my time at Planned Parenthood that caused sort of this shift in my belief. One of the things that took place was we were building at the time the largest abortion facility in the Western Hemisphere. It was a 78,000 square foot facility, 7 stories tall. We were going to be performing abortions through the 6th month of pregnancy. And for me, that was a problem for me because I got into the abortion business thinking, we are helping women who are, thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to have a baby because I have too many other children and I can't take care of this child, or because I want to continue my education, or, for a plethora of other reasons. But my line in the sand morally, and I realize how that sounds now, but my line in the sand morally at that time was viability. And here we were about to open a facility that was going to be crossing that viability line. Mm-hmm. And that was becoming increasingly problematic for me. And so that was one of the first things that really caused me to say, is this a place where I want to continue employment? Because I had thought that I was going to spend the rest of my career with Planned Parenthood. Mm-hmm. That's where I thought I'm gonna retire and live a happy life with Planned Parenthood. So that was kind of the first break. But then also, like I said, I also got involved with Planned Parenthood, fully believing that our goal at Planned Parenthood was to reduce the number of abortions. When I got involved with Planned Parenthood, that was the stated goal. And now I had been there for, 7 to 8 years, and I started to see that maybe that stated goal wasn't lining up. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe that wasn't lining up with exactly what I was seeing in reality. And we were being told that not only did we have abortion quotas, a certain number of abortions that we had to sell to women, but now we were being told that we had to double that abortion quota. And we were told that we were to go into minority communities, that we were to literally put flyers up in minority communities, targeting those communities to get them into our facilities to abort primarily Black babies, Black and Hispanic babies. That also caused sort of a check in my gut. I did not prefer that we were doing that. And the whole quota thing just did not, I had a problem with that. But ultimately, I ended up leaving after watching a live ultrasound guided abortion. And I know for a lot of people, they think, you were there for 8 years. How had you not seen that before? But ultrasound guidance during an actual abortion is rare because abortions are done without the use of an ultrasound during the actual abortion. So we used an ultrasound to gestationally date the pregnancy so that we would know how much to charge her for an abortion. But then the ultrasound was rolled away, and abortions are done in secret. They are done where the doctor does not actually see the fetus as he is aborting the fetus. He doesn't see inside of the woman's womb as he is performing surgery on that part of the woman's body. And I had never thought about that before. The visiting physician that was there that day was telling me that at his own private practice, this is the typical way that he performed abortions because it was safe for the woman. It was safer for the woman if you could see that part of the body where he was performing surgery. And that made total sense to me. I could not think of any other surgical procedure. And even today, now 16 years removed, I cannot think of any other surgical procedure that is done where the physician cannot actually see the part of the body where he is performing surgery.
But it's absolutely, can I?
Yeah.
I just want to interrupt for a second. The part that struck me as new information is the fact that you priced abortions differently at Planned Parenthood. So if you were in your first trimester, it was cheaper than if you were, at 6 months.
Oh, not even that. If you were 9 weeks and 6 days, it was cheaper than if you were at 10 weeks. So it's even within the first trimester, it is different pricing. So there's no medical reason for that. There's no, it's not a different procedure. It's the exact same procedure. The reason that they do that, though, is because they want women coming in sooner. So they want women coming in as soon as they find out they are pregnant. So they don't want women to wait because they know time is an enemy to the abortion clinic, right? Because the longer a woman waits into her pregnancy, the more realistic it is that she will end up choosing life for her child, right? Because the more realistic it is that she will end up having a maternal bond, a maternal feeling toward her child. And so this is the same reason that the abortion industry opposes laws like waiting periods, right? So, you find out you're pregnant, you can't get an abortion for 24 hours or for 72 hours or 48 hours. This is why they oppose bills like that. It makes complete sense that you would not be able to walk into an abortion facility, pop a positive pregnancy test, and then in that same hour, lie on an abortion clinic table and have a surgical procedure performed on your body. Mm-hmm. That makes total sense to me. I think it makes total sense to the majority of Americans that you would have to take a little bit of time, that you would have to read through some information before you have an invasive medical procedure performed on your body.
But for an industry that wants to get the highest number, wants to fill the quotas, wants to double the quotas, that's detrimental. You want women going in there and making these off-the-cuff decisions, emotionally charged decisions, so that you can get that abortion done and then move to the next one.
Exactly. And so time is the enemy. So they want them making those fast, hasty, quick decisions in that moment where you are saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. And then the abortion industry comes in and says, we know what to do. And it's going to be $600, right? And not to worry, they have all kinds of solutions to help you pay for the $600, right? So, anyway, so when I was asked to come in by this visiting physician and assist him during this ultrasound guided abortion, that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that before in my life. And to my knowledge, it was the first time that kind of abortion had been performed at our facility ever. Because abortion is usually done in a blind way.
I mean, the doctors must feel guilty about it, right? So the less they see and know what they're, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but to see it and do it at the same time would put a lot more pressure on them to actually do the procedure.
Sure. And so I'm doing this ultrasound. And I'm looking at this ultrasound screen, and I'm, for the first time in my life, I'm face to face, literally,
with a baby,
with the face of a child at 13 weeks. That I'm realizing, oh my gosh,
baby. Yeah,
this is a baby, and this baby's about to die, and I can see the heartbeat of this child. And when the instruments go into the woman's womb, I can see the child begin to move its arms and legs and begin to flail as if it's trying to
escape
death. And a
very human thing to do.
Very human response of something that I had really dehumanized for 8 years. And I was face to face for the first time with the humanity of this child. And I remember in that moment, I remember wanting to yell out. I remember wanting to say, stop, you don't do this. Let this woman see her child. I mean, I remember all of these things going through my mind, but I felt very frozen in that moment, very overwhelmed by the industry of it all.
The evil of it all.
Yeah. And I stood there and just watched it happen. And I watched this child be murdered, honestly. I mean, that's what I watched.
So when did you leave the clinic?
So I left the clinic a week later. I thought that day I went home, I told my husband who had always been pro-life throughout our marriage, which made things a little tense in our marriage. I went home and told him what I saw. And it was a perfect opportunity for him to say, I told you so, but he didn't. He just looked at me and said, well, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know. I did not feel at that time that I could afford to leave without another job. I was scared. That was my identity. I was a pro-choice feminist. And I thought, who am I going to be if I leave this job? Who are my friends going to be? I went to a church that was a pro-choice church. I mean, my faith community, my friends, everybody, like, I'm going to be alone. Who am I going to be? So I went back actually to the clinic thinking, I can change Planned Parenthood. I went back that Monday thinking I can change Planned Parenthood. Actually, it's so foolish. And that entire week, I kept thinking, I can do this. I can make us about birth control. I can make us about women's health. And after a very devastating week and literally getting physically ill every time I walked into the building, I finally realized every time I get paid, even if I was not involved in abortion in any way that entire week, I wouldn't counsel for it. I wouldn't have anything to do with it. I just kind of sat in my office that entire week. I realized every time I get a paycheck, it's blood money. I can't escape abortion at Planned Parenthood. That is who we are. And so I finally decided I'm just going to have to take that leap of faith and leave and trust that we're going to be provided for. And so that's what I did.
Well, you did it. And now you're one of the most influential pro-life advocates in America. People are captured by your story, the horror of it, because I think that there's a lot of women in particular that have dehumanized abortion and justified it either through financial means, the career means, because they just believe that having a baby, will bring them down. This kind of this kind of parlays into what we're seeing right now amongst the Gen Z population of girls in particular, them prioritizing their career, deep prioritizing getting married or having babies, or even their faith. That's at the bottom of their list. But at the top of their list is emotional satisfaction or emotional well-being. But it seems to me like they're making all the wrong choices in order to have have a good emotional well-being. They're foregoing getting married. They're foregoing having children. They're foregoing the stability that comes with a loving household and family.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think we kind of live in this upside down world where society, and this has been kind of the programming of Planned Parenthood. And I think Planned Parenthood has done a very good job of working with a lot of media, and, different various groups to convince society, to convince women that motherhood is slavery and that abortion is freedom. So singlehood is freedom. And we see that kind of programming, it came along. It's interesting. When you look at sort of the psychology of marketing, you can look at this, back through time, where if you look back several decades ago, you look at the photos of mothers. Okay. The marketing of motherhood, mothers used to be beautiful. You would see mothers, they looked nice. They were dressed nice. They would be, children in tow, and they would be, beautiful. Mothers were beautiful. They were considered the beautiful women among society. Right. And if you were single, you were kind of like a spinster, right? Like that was kind of how, society looked. You didn't want to be a single woman, right? You wanted to be married with children. That was how society identified beautiful women. Okay. That began to change with the women's liberation movement. And suddenly, now you look at, and I mean, you could do this today. You could look at commercials today and you see, singlehood is what is beautiful. And you look at ads, and even our culture, what our culture has done, even with, mommy wine culture. It's like, oh, I have to drink my way through parenthood because my kids are just a disaster. And
driving me crazy. Yep.
I have to drink to be a mom. I have to drink at my kid's soccer game to make it through, because kids are just so devastating and hard, and I have to numb myself to be a parent. And now you see, moms today, it's like, oh, if you're going to be a mom, you've got to look like a wreck all the time, right? And your hair is always in a messy bun, and you've got, spit up on your shirt all the time, and you look like a mess. And honestly, we've allowed that narrative to dictate the way that we see motherhood. And so we've allowed it to kind of play out in our society today, instead of saying, no. I mean, I have 8 children. And I don't allow myself to walk around looking like a hag,
Well,
right?
God bless you, because that's a lot of children and you look
It is a lot of
beautiful.
children, but they are the greatest joy in my life. And I don't walk into Costco looking like a homeless person. I mean, I take pride in my children. I take pride in my work as a mother.
Yeah. And
And
the children also, I've got 3 boys. Like, we're going through the holiday season, seeing the holiday season through their eyes, the decorations, the cookie making, the going to church, the nativity scene, it brings so much more joy in your own life, to celebrate with them. And it gives you such a purpose and a meaning that no one talks about really, in today's culture.
yes, and that having children has given me the greatest joy in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that has actually given me a freedom that I didn't even know existed, because it has given me a purpose in my life that I didn't know I had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true freedom. When you find your real purpose in life, when you find the gifts that were within you that weren't brought out yet because you didn't have this joy within you, that you didn't have, I wouldn't have even known this existed if I didn't have children, right? So for me, not having children and not having the joy, not having this joy, not having this,
You never know. You'd
I
never know
wouldn't
what you were
know it.
missing
That
on.
would be slavery to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it would be this unknown gift that would be just kind of waiting in the wings I would never have. So, I mean, and I don't mean just that you have to be a biological parent, even though I think that is a joyous thing. We also have an adopted child. But Pope John Paul II said that women are to mother the world. And he didn't mean in like a Mother Earth sense. He meant that we have gifts inside of us that we are meant to mother. That's who we are. That God has given us a sense of mothering inside of all of us. And so whether it's a biological parent, certainly, whether it's an adoptive parent, whether you're an aunt, whether you are a spiritual mother to someone, those are the gifts that we have been given. And we are to use those gifts. That is true freedom. That we use the gifts that are given to us, that are already inside of us. That is real joy. That is real freedom. To not use those, to have those pent up inside of us, to be in bondage and to not use the gifts that we've been given, that is actually slavery.
Well, that is the message that a lot of young women need to hear. And I feel like a lot of women who are currently in their 40s and decided not to get married, not to have children, it's a joy that they'll never know, and are probably regretting at this point. There's a real suffering there as well. But Abby Johnson, thank you so much for joining me today and getting this message across. I feel very passionate about the work that you do, and that this is a message that we really, really need to flip it on its head. We need to say that women empowerment does not mean being single with a career, driving yourself up the ladder. And that's not your only choice in life. If you choose it, fine. But children, even though they might be a surprise, are God's greatest gift. And there are resources out there, and I'd like you to share those resources to some of the young women right now who might have an unexpected pregnancy, who view this as a bump in the road that they might not get over, as an obstacle to what they think is their life goal.
Yes. So there are so many resources out there available to young women. I want women, my organization, Loveline, wants women to be financially independent. We want women to be educated. We do not want women to be dependent on the government. We want women to be financially literate. And so I have an organization called Loveline that we started back in 2019. We provide full case management. We have educational scholarships for women, whether they want to go into a trade. Whether we've helped women get their full bachelor's degrees. We've helped women pursue their degrees in getting master's degrees. We've helped women become midwives. Whatever it is that their heart desires and their educational goals, we can help them fulfill that if they're our client. Loveline is an organization that wants women to fulfill their desires. And we want women to be independent and not dependent on anyone except the Lord. We do not want women to be dependent on the government dole. We do not want women to be dependent on anyone. And so we help women realize their full potential. And so if a woman is in a crisis pregnancy right now, if she is pregnant and she's thinking, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, I'm overwhelmed, please reach out to us at loveline.com. We have a text line. You can call us, you can email us. We would love to help you. We would love to talk with you. Our intake managers would love to talk with you. There's always local pregnancy resource centers you can go to as well. And if you call us at Loveline, we can help you find one of those easily. Also, if you're a single mom and you're listening and you're saying, I am at my limit, I don't know what to do, I'm feeling overwhelmed, we can help you as well. So we're here not just for pregnant women, but also for women who have had children and are feeling like, they're at max capacity as well. Loveline also helps single moms as well. So reach out to us because we want to help you fulfill your max potential.
Well, Abby Johnson, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciated the conversation.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.